If you guys haven't met Landon Bentham, he is A, an absolutely amazing person. B, in the last, I'd say 12 months, he's become a complete video whiz and brought it into the agency and convinced his team that it's something that they should do too. So he has volunteered as tribute today so that none of you guys had to get up and do any videos with me. He's volunteered as tribute, and he's going to show you some of the really cool things he's doing in his agency with video. But first, I want to tell you a couple stories that might help you guys understand the impact of video. These are personal stories, things that have happened in my career. The first starts like 4 years ago. I had put a video together, and it was just something silly inside of our office, just strung some clips together, put some audio underneath it, and sent it out to our whole team, and they got a crack out of it, and they said, dude, you should do more video. Like, put something on YouTube. You're kind of funny, which I like never thought of myself as a funny person before, but they seemed to think so. So I said, all right, I will definitely put a video on YouTube, and then did not put a video on YouTube for the next 8 months. So 8 months later, I finally said, all right, fine, after they had come back to me and said, come on, Sid, just do it. And I said, all right, put a video on YouTube. And 3 months after that video went live, I was walking through a bar in DC inside of an insurance conference happy hour, and this lady starts yelling my name from across the bar. Now, if somebody is yelling your name in the middle of a happy hour in DC, you'd think that you'd know who they were and they'd know you. And you guys would be friends, right? So I turned around thinking I was going to see somebody that I'd known for a long time. I turn around, I have no clue who this lady is. And she's standing on the chair, like bar stools, kind of propping herself up, waving, Sid. It's like, all right. Maybe if I walk slowly, by the time I get there, I'll remember her name. So I start taking baby steps, and nothing's coming. Like, first letter, no. She has blonde hair, no, nothing. I'll get all the way up to her, start shaking her hand, and she goes, Sid, you don't know me. I was like, whew, thank you, Jesus. She said, but I saw your video. Let's see. Let me show you the video. Hold on one sec. Customer service versus customer experience, explained with a beer fridge. If you guys have a cell phone up in your, of course you have cell phones. If you want to pull your cell phone out, you can Google on YouTube, or you can Google in Google, literally, customer service versus customer experience, and this video should come up in like the top 5 results. I took this screenshot a year or two ago, so I think now it has close to, actually if somebody wants to look that up really quick, you can raise your hand and then I'll ask you how many views it has at this point. But here's the point of the story. And the point of the story is we had an incredible conversation. We didn't talk about the weather. It felt like I had known her for a while. She felt like she knew me. We ended up doing a collaborative piece together on a media site that I used to work at, and it was great, right? And that connection would never have happened if it weren't for this video. It would never have happened. Video is like a 24/7 producer that sits out on the internet, doesn't complain, doesn't need a salary, doesn't need to be fed, just makes connections. And that was one connection. Did anybody look up how many views the video has? 32,000. So let's not assume that everybody who watches the video actually, finishes it or felt like there was real value in it, but let's just say that 10% did. That's 3,200 connections that I've made, and that took 6 hours to make. I don't know what other more efficient way there is to build connections. And I'm not saying that we're best friends, but it opens a door, right? It opens a door. So that was a moment for me where I realized, oh my gosh, video has this incredible power to make an impactful connection at scale. A few months later, a coworker of mine was trying to attract people to this webinar. We were selling a product, a tech sort of widget, and he was trying to convince people to sign up for the webinar so that he could sell them. This was the email that he sent to motivate people to come to his webinar. Really great guy, really long emails. So I said, Marty, let's go have a beer. So we go have a beer, and we come back to the office, and 3 beer Marty and I make this video. Oh, I don't know if it's going to play. So essentially what we're saying, right, is, it's probably not the best shot to stop Marty on. You know. So we're going back and forth, and he's like, hey, Sid, what are we talking about in the webinar? It's Marty, you tell me. No, you tell me. No, you tell me, right? We go back and forth. Don't say anything about what we're actually talking about, and at the end, it's sort of like, hey, if we've got this new surprise, if you want to know what it is, sign up for the webinar and come and find out. Now, when Marty was sending out the email that was attracting people to the webinar, he was getting 25 people to sign up every single time he sent an email. And he had about a 47% attendance rate, because the tough part with webinars is people sign up, and then they're like, Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, tough competitor to a webinar. So 25 people signing up with like a 40% attendance rate. When we sent this video out, we got 100 people to sign up, and 87% of them showed up. And that continued to happen every single time we would send out a video. So there's something about being able to, right, see people and understand, like they knew not just what the webinar was about, but who was running the webinar. And they got a feel for us and our vibe and what we were like. So there's something that just pushes people that extra bit. All right, last story. We, at Agency Nation, the company I used to work for, we held this event every year called Elevate. We had a couple hundred agents show up, and our CEO, Chip, on the left would hold panels with some carrier CEOs. So if you can, you don't really need the audio for this, but the conference was called Elevate, and it was superhero-based. So watch the guy in the middle. He's saying, we are from the super regional carriers, right? And he kind of had this superhero outfit, right? So I said, so they were a big sponsor for Elevate one year, and I said, okay, well, we were going back into these conversations as a team and saying, we need to talk to our sponsors again. How do we get their attention? How can we get them to, start thinking about Elevate? So the very first video to initiate that conversation that I sent was me sitting in my office saying, hey, just wanted to say thank you to you guys for last year, and we really hope that you guys will come back and be a sponsor for next year. Now, I can see, here's the cool thing about video. I sent that to 2 people, the carrier CEO and his son, the CMO. That video was played 33 times. There's no way they like me that much. Right? So I knew that this was something that they really appreciated and enjoyed, and I could play off of that. So the insight that you can get, right, it's almost like getting inside somebody's head that you can get from seeing the analytics behind the video are really, really powerful. So just 3 stories as you start to think about, why would I use video, Sid? Why wouldn't I just send an email? Why wouldn't I just write an article? Why wouldn't I just send a voice recording? Right? There's something really immersive and experiential when you send somebody a video in a world where we don't have the opportunity to always sit across from somebody at that coffee shop and get to know them and shake their hand and look in their eyes. There's a very humanness to that. It's almost like a window, right, into your life. So think about that as you're considering video. A couple stats, according to Forbes, 90% of customers say video helps them make a buying decision. 64% say that watching a video makes them more likely to buy. And I'm gonna actually skip through these next ones because we're gonna talk about this in real life when Landon comes up. What I'd like to do is walk you through 3 videos that we want you to learn how to make today so that you have something to walk away with at the end of this. The first one is called The Explainer, and it's a very simple video where you answer a client or prospect's question. I'm sure that you guys have a list of questions that people ask you every single day, ask your team every single day to the point where you're like, I feel like all I do is answer people's questions. Take those questions, put them down onto a Word document, and turn them into videos, put them on YouTube. We're going to show you how Landon did that. The second one is the proposal, right? This is a huge decision-making moment for a potential client. And unfortunately, we've been conditioned as consumers to look at, when we get a policy or a quote, to scroll all the way down to the bottom and look at the price. And without somebody's expertise to guide us to the more valuable parts of that document, that's the thing that we consider the most. So using video can help elevate your value to the client as that trusted advisor. That person who says, look, price matters, but consider this, and consider this, and consider this. And Landon's gonna walk you through how to do that. And finally, the cross-sell, right? How can we understand where there are gaps in our current clients' lives and then approach them through some video? So let me tell you a really quick story about the explainer. I tend to be a little optimistic about things, about life, idealistic. And I had this idea last year that I really wanted to remodel our kitchen. Have you guys ever seen Chip and Joanna Gaines? Okay, I am obsessed with, I would shiplap my entire house if I could. I love them. I wanted to shiplap our kitchen, which makes literally no sense, but I was determined to do at least something. So I started Googling, how do I install kitchen cabinets, and how do I replace floors, and how do I take out a sink? And I found this guy named Shannon. I love Shannon. My partner hates Shannon. Shannon gave me a ton of confidence to be able to do the thing that I needed to do. And here's the crazy part. I spent a ton of time with him. I mean, we're not talking minutes, we're talking hours. This is one video that almost hit an hour, right? And he's got a ton of videos out there. Now, here's the thing, as you're thinking about video, a lot of people, we come into this world of, oh my God, I've never done video and I'm doing it for the first time, and it's very vulnerable. It's scary to put yourself on video. I know, because I still get scared when I put myself on video, and I've made a ton of them to this day. But because of that, we expect the world or want the world to react just with this moment of like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing ever, and we want our video to go viral. And that's what we deem success. If you make a video and you put yourself out there and the whole world is like, I've never seen anything greater in my life before than Rusty talking about insurance. This should go viral, right? We have to get out of that mindset when we make videos, because the goal every single time we put out a video is consistency. It's in the consistency of making those videos and answering those questions and letting people see who you are that you're going to find the most success. So take Google, for example, right? When Google has a consumer come onto their platform, their goal is to provide that consumer with a solution, because they're typically asking a question, right? They want to provide not just any solution, but the best solution. That's how Google stays competitive. That's why people use Google more than Bing and Yahoo, because they find the best answers on Google. So what you have to think about is, how do I help Google accomplish their mission? Well, if I'm going to be the best solution, I've got to be the authority on that subject. I've got to be the one that they need to talk to, kind of like Shannon, right? Shannon didn't just make one video. He made like 400 videos over a period of 4 or 5 years. And every single time he made a video and answered a question, he raised that much higher in Google's search engine algorithm, right? He became more authoritative. He became the guy to go to. So that's how you have to think about, as you're making these videos, it's not about making a video and getting a bunch of views. I make videos every day that get, not every day, every week. You can go look at our YouTube channel and they'll get 50 to, the one that has the most is under 600 views. But I'm still making an impact, and I know I am. Because when I'm talking to people and as people are thinking about things, right, it's not about the views. Got to get out of that mindset. It's not about going viral. It's not about the views. It's about the consistency and the authority that you're building online. So with that, that is the explainer. Landon's going to show you a little bit about what he's done. Real quick, the proposal, something to think about. Again, this is that moment when you want to be that trusted advisor, but the cool part is once you send the video to them, you've now got analytics on whether they liked it, what they watched, how long they watched, what time they watched, how many times they watched. So take just as a quick example, I used to sell this online e-course called Agency Nation University. So I would send out these video proposals, introducing myself, explaining what the product was, and really asking what they were interested in and why they were coming to the site. So we got Clark, Liz, and Greg. So Clark's got 4, Liz got 1, Greg's got 1. So if I come in Wednesday morning, who am I going to call first? Yeah. Then there's Rodney. A little bit of a stalker, right? Definitely calling Rodney. Now, here's another quick story I'll tell you. I sent out a video at one point and saw that this person had watched the video, called them up within about 60 minutes of them watching the video, and I said, hey, just wanting to know, how you're doing, and if you've thought at all about Agency Nation University and whether you're interested in it, and I know he watched the video, so I'm thinking like he must be interested, right? I'll give him a call. He goes, oh yeah, sorry, I haven't been able to watch the video yet. Okay, so that at least tells me that he's not interested in the product. So now I'm not going to waste my time, right? So you see how he goes into an email nurturing program completely separate from the time that I spend one-on-one. So just having that insight is incredibly valuable. What matters most, you can see, this is Wistia specifically. There's a bunch of different pieces of tech out there. Use Loom was the one Jack mentioned. Vidyard, Wistia, just all kinds of them. Wistia specifically, though, shows engagement. So sometimes when you guys are watching videos, you might find yourself going back and like re-watching certain parts. So let's say I've got a video that goes over deductibles, goes over limits, and give me another one. In auto insurance, what are some things that people might consider? Medical insurance specifically, right? Maybe they don't know if they want that. So if you've got these 3 sections, you can see if somebody's going back, right, to a specific section and re-watching that particular section, which tells me either I didn't do a good job of explaining it, or if I'm confident that I explained it correctly, now I know what to start the conversation with. So all these pieces of data, right, add up to a more meaningful conversation. You can see what time, so you could have a task spit out that says, hey, they just watched this video, you need to call them within 30 minutes, just FYI, because you want to hit them when it's hot. So video proposals, super awesome. And then finally, we're going to go over cross-sell, which is sort of mixed in with the video proposal. And I'm going to stop talking because Landon is about to blow your minds. All right, that's all I got. Landon, do you want to come up and talk a little bit about web traffic, the explainer video? And
Sure.
Awesome.
I can start there.
Awesome.
How many of you in this room have ever put yourself in front of a camera before and started talking to it? Raise your hands really high. How did you feel the first time you did that? Awkward. What else did you feel? What other things did you feel like? Excited? That's good. That's good. Anybody feel nervous? Anybody have heart palpitations? Give me just a second to set up here. Sid, real quick, can you talk about some of the tech that you could use while I get this set up?
Yeah, and actually, so I got a story for you about, so what tends to happen when we get scared and uncomfortable is we have this vision of what we want ourselves to be, right? We have this vision of what we want ourselves to be because we think that's what other people want from us. And typically it revolves around perfection, right? We can't say, does our hair look okay? Are we moving too much? Are we fidgeting? Are we using our hands? Is the lighting, is it an upshot, right? So let me tell you a quick story about perfection. A few years ago, actually around the same time that I put that YouTube video out, my boss at the time, Ryan Hanley, he came to me and he was like, Sid, you just got to start making videos more consistently. You're actually pretty good at it, and you really need to focus on this. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, I will. I got it. Got it, Ryan. I'm going to make more videos. You got it, dude. And then I'd go back and I would obsess over everything. Like, what is the story? And what am I going to talk about? And what is the shot? And what does the editing look like? And the audio and, and my hair and my makeup and all this stuff. And it's got to be the best video that anyone's ever seen. And then you come back to me, Sid, where's the videos? You got to make more videos. Come on. No, Ryan, I got it. I'm working on it. When you see this thing, it's going to blow your mind. Okay, let's go back. I'm like, all right, got to get the audio right, and maybe I'll use this site instead of that site. And no, I can't talk about that. That's stupid. And I got to talk about this thing over here, or phrase it in this way. Sid, where's the videos? Yeah, okay, I'm getting to it. Okay, 2 weeks later, I get a notification from Facebook. Ryan Hanley has posted a video. Oh, this was war. He knew that if he posted a video, I have a little bit of a competitive streak, he knew if he posted a video before me that it would trigger my competitive side and I would just go ahead and post the video. And here's the thing is, when I saw his video, I don't want to say it was terrible, but it was interesting. The first 45 seconds were of his coffee pot making coffee. And people loved it. Like, loved it. It was, the audio wasn't perfect, and the lighting wasn't perfect, and the shot sequence was weird, and I wasn't exactly sure what he was saying in the video, and people loved it. Okay, so the point is, it doesn't have to be perfect, and what's ironic about this message, this narrative that we get in our head about we've got to be perfect, right, is people actually want imperfection. We think people want perfection, but they actually want imperfection because we live in a world where media is relatable and it's human, and the more perfect you are, the less relatable you are. So say make mistakes, get in front of the video camera, screw it up, do the upshot, have bad lighting, and do it over and over and over again. Because people want to see that journey and they want to see you, right? That's the biggest takeaway. All right, go ahead, dude.
All right. So first, let me just say, the experience that I'm about to share with you, I learned completely from Sid and Ryan Hanley. They were a team that was, and still are really, they're thought leaders in the space. And what they teach and what they consistently say about video, it all makes sense. And we were able to sort of parlay that into how we do business. So one of the things we hear a lot about at conferences like this, in sales specifically, I'm here to talk about using video in the sales process, is developing a niche, okay? Developing a specific niche. Some of you in this room already have one. Some of you are trying to develop one, okay? One of the strategies that you can use with explainer videos is to create, as Sydney said, sort of as she showed with the gentleman that was doing the woodworking and the kitchen remodeling and all that, is to create yourself an authority figure. And so I'm situated in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which, as some of you probably know, is right next to the largest military base in the country, and that's Fort Bragg. What comes along with that is a lot of other industry. One of those industries is government contractors, okay? Those government contractors, specifically the ones that I was targeting, are sending employees of their own overseas to do work in Iraq, Afghanistan, wherever the United States military is stationed. One of the specific products that they have to have as a defense contractor is something called DBA insurance, which is Defense Base Act insurance. Has anybody ever heard of that before? Just a couple. It's a really super unique, it's basically a foreign workers' comp. Okay, there's a law that says if you send an employee overseas and they are on a government contract that you must have DBA insurance as part of that contract. Makes sense. The interesting thing is, if you do a quick Google search, there's almost nobody in the country that's marketing just a DBA insurance policy. No one. But they all need it. So I dug a little further and realized, of talking to some brokers that I had, that there's really just 3 markets that sell most of the DBA insurance. Minimum premium to send one person overseas for 1 week is $10,000. Just one guy, $10,000, even if you go over for a week. So I'm thinking, okay, that's a nice premium size. How can we target them? So what I did was I developed a video series where I produced, over the period of about a month and a half, a set of videos right here that talks about the different aspects of what a DBA insurance policy would be. What is DBA insurance? First video I did. It was the first week. Just ripped it off. I think it's a year ago, and it was about almost 5 minutes long. And then I just kind of went through and answered questions about that process. And you can see in that time period of about a year, I had 134 views on that one video. What is DBA insurance? Today, if I were to pull up my sales pipeline, there sits $50,000 worth of opportunity just from those videos. I'm not kidding you. It's those videos. They find it. They literally Google what is DBA insurance, and my videos pop up on Google, and then you go in, and they see it, and then they go through it. I have a link that links to our website, and then goes to a form. They fill it out, and I get that response directly, and start to work with them. So, like, I've talked with a guy from South Korea a couple weeks ago that's putting together some things. There's a contractor in Iraq, which the stuff that happened with Syria has really put a halt on a lot of that stuff that's going on over there. But I have interesting conversations with these people all across the world because of the power of video. And so that's just a really super unique thing that we were able to do and produce some revenue. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, it's just trying to figure out how to capture more business. And so from the sales side and from a lead generation side, the explainer video is huge. I'm going to show you how I go through a quote proposal. I think, go ahead.
Let me ask you a couple quick questions. I'm going to do interview you really quick. Yeah. So, tell me about the setup that you had here.
Yeah.
Did you do this in like a video production studio that costs thousands of dollars with like lighting and a makeup person? Did you have a trailer outside? Like, tell me about this experience of like filming.
Green M&Ms and that stuff.
Right, only green. Yes.
Yeah. No, I didn't. So this is the exact setup that I use to create the videos. Okay. So and there's a lot of ways to do this. I'm going to show you one way through Wistia as a way you can create these videos. But what I use is this setup right here. So this is just a DSLR Canon camera setup. Lens. Audio is really important in video production, so I wanted to invest in a good quality way to capture that, and so I'm an audio guy anyway. That's my background. So I wanted to get something that was really going to capture that. So I put a shotgun mic on top, and then I just shoot that. I use this light, which I don't do my makeup on this, I promise. You might see that on some other people online that use these. But basically, I just put that in front of me like this. I've got my camera off to the side. I'm sitting at my desk. I have a consistent background, so you saw how the consistency of the thumbnails were on that. You can see it's all the same shot. And then I just use banners and labels and put it together. It takes me about an hour a minute from start to finish is what I timed. So if it's, 5-minute video, it's about 5 hours to create that from start to finish. So that's capture, front end to production back end, and then post on YouTube.
Sweet. What editing software do you use for the
I use Adobe Premiere Pro
Adobe Premiere?
to do that, which is a little bit heavy. I mean, if you're just getting started, there's a learning curve with it. There's actually a pretty steep learning curve with it. Like I said, there's lots of ways you can do it. You don't have to get into the big production, but I use Adobe Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can just use your phone.
Yep, I was just going to say, yeah. So I used to have one of these lights. These are like say what? Oh, it's about $100 on Amazon. 2-day shipping, comes free, just in case you were wondering. But this thing will take like 20 years off you. Some people that might be good, some that might be bad. I don't know. It's a great light. The reason I like it is because sometimes you'll see if you Google lighting setups on Amazon, they're going to recommend these box lights. That is a great lighting setup, but it does take a little finagling because you have to get the angle of the light just right for the video to come out well. So this light, just from a standpoint of, are you just getting started with video? This is a great light to start with because you literally pop it right in front of you and it looks perfect. And it's just almost no work at all, right? Versus those lighting.
So what type of light is that called?
Yeah.
It's a ring light. You can just type in ring light on Amazon, and you'll find a bunch of them. That's specifically Newer is the name of the company.
Yep. So if you're going really low tech, though, we're talking you don't want to spend any money. You can absolutely create a great video for YouTube without all of this. What I would recommend is, you might want to get a stand for your phone, $15, $20. Otherwise, I guess you could stack some insurance policies on top of one another,
right.
And prop your phone up maybe. But if you get a stand and then you just pop that right in front of you, and you want to be in a sort of quieter room, right? Because the audio from your iPhone is going to pick up environmental noise. The mic that Landon has here is called a shotgun mic, and the reason that it's going to produce better quality audio is because it's really just streamlining any audio waves that are coming directly in front of it. So if I'm actually talking over here, or if I go around and I talk over here, you're not really going to hear that audio quite as well. But if I'm standing right in front of it, right, I can talk and it'll hear me. So it's great for environments where it might be a little noisier. But if you've got a quiet room and a stand, then you just want a window, right? That natural light coming in. And you want to place, so if this window's right here, you have window, camera, and whatever else, if you've got something you want to show or anything like that, right? So that way the light is coming in this way, and it's angled on your face, and it'll take 20 years off if that's what you want. So that's that would be the setup that I would recommend. This would be a little bit more intense. This is a DSLR camera with a good wide lens, a shotgun mic, and a tripod, and then this is a ring light. So that's a little more high tech than the low tech.
Yes. Questions about that?
Yeah.
Anything?
No?
Okay.
All right, video proposal? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really because I'm doing the work myself on it. So because I'm actually post-producing, we call it, the video. So I capture, so from the time I know what I'm going to talk about, let's say I'm going to talk about home insurance. Maybe I'm going to talk about the HE7, which is specific to North Carolina, okay? So by the time I set the camera in front of me, get my thoughts together, turn that camera on, record, shoot it, capture. It's going to take however long it takes to capture, 15, 20 minutes, whatever I'm going to do. Then I take that file, drop it into my computer, and then I got to chop it up. Maybe add some music, add some graphic if there needs to be, and then I need to upload that to YouTube. That whole process is about, for me, it's about an hour a minute. So if I'm producing a 6-minute video, it probably took me 6 hours to do it. And that's what keeping it relatively simple. I mean, nothing I do is really that complicated. I don't do a lot of moving motion graphics and stuff like that. I sort of keep it pretty simple. Sometimes I use a script, or I'll have some notes jotted out of the general flow I want the video to go. If you were to actually listen to those videos one by one, you'd be able to pick it out. There's a consistent intro. There's a body, like, which is 3 points, and then a conclusion. So I just have that sketched out, and I just talk about it. The biggest thing that I'll say, no matter if you're using a larger setup like this, or just your phone, is just to keep talking. When you start to create a video, it's really easy to shut it off. And that was terrible. I got to do that again. I got to try again. That just didn't work. I don't like the way my face was angled. I don't like this is my bad side. I got to get on my good side. Marcus Sheridan, who I'll name drop here, has a book called They Ask, You Answer, I believe is the name of it. And he talks all about how video marketing goes into your sales process. And he also coaches on how to produce video. One of the main tips he uses is just to say, if you're not a big enough expert in what you're talking about already, you probably shouldn't be producing the video. So just turn it on and talk about it. And that will get you started in producing the videos. So.
Yeah, if you want to just kind of thinking through production time, if you're worried, if that number scares you, two things that you could do. One is there's a site called Upwork.com, and even when I'm like scrapped for time, I'll go hire a video editor, and they're anywhere from like, $20 an hour to $50 an hour, depending if you want just a simple edit or motion graphics or whatever, right? So you could get a video edited in $100, right, for one video. And that doesn't cost you any time.
I'm just curious, when you talk about editing,
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're going to go and speak. What are you having to edit? Are you adding features into the video? Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about your editing process.
Sometimes, most of the time I messed up at some point in the recording, and I want to clip that part out, or I want to jump from one point to the next, and whatever I said, I didn't like the way I said it, so I just cut it. Sometimes in the videoing process, if I don't like the way I say something, I keep the camera rolling, and I'll just go back and say it again, and then that way, then I go through and just chop it up. I think in the very first few videos I did, I had to go back and re-record some stuff, but I try not to have to re-record anything. It's not perfect, it's not gonna be, and so I just take what I had and, okay, that's good enough, and then just move on to the next video. Otherwise, you could spin your wheels forever in perfection with that. So editing is really just getting it to a place where it flows the way I want it to flow.
The other thing yep, go ahead, dude.
Maybe an odd question, but do you ever have a concern that you're putting yourself on the record and you're saying that this covers this way and creating an in-way situation?
Yeah. So, that potentially, I mean, there is that thought in the back of my mind, and I try not to get super specific. You're going to see the way I do a video quote in just a minute, and that sort of is on the record. But on the flip side of that coin, sometimes it's nice, like the voice over IP phone systems now will record all those phone calls so that you know exactly what was said, so that you can prove, hey, this is exactly the way I said it. I look at it as maybe a help as well because there's a record. I try to make sure that my process is followed. I think it's no different. I mean, I understand what you're saying. If it's just a phone conversation and it's gone, it's that one word against mine as to what I said or didn't say. When it's video, it's a little bit more permanent, but I sort of see it as a help as well, because I know going on the record, I offered this, I offered this, I offered this. Sure. You can add whatever you want to video. Yeah. And the disclaimer, I'll show you how I send most of my video quotes. There's a disclaimer at the bottom of my email anyway, which is pretty standard. So.
Yep. The other thing, too, is there are probably colleges in your area, universities. Guarantee you, if you have a university in your area or a high school, there are kids who want to learn how to do video and would love an internship. Seth Zaremba from Zinc Insurance actually had 2 interns, video interns, and I mean, they do really great work, and they're super attentive, and they don't cost too much, so because they're learning. So that's another idea. If you just want somebody if all you want to do is the talking part, and you need somebody else to come in with the video equipment and the editing power and all that kind of stuff, I mean, go to your local high school or college. I guarantee you'll find somebody. Oh my gosh, what am I saying? There he is. Yeah. Woo! All right. Put my foot in my mouth there.
Yes, sir.
Would you ever use a script or a teleprompter?
I've
Always be just totally.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I think like the 7 minutes.
Yep. Yeah.
I'd forget what I said.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, have you ever presented a quote over the phone with somebody? You ever done? Who's done? I mean, everybody's done that, right? It doesn't take 7 minutes. So yeah. So yes, I would use a teleprompt in some cases. That's typically not my style. So I don't. I want it to be more natural. Like Sid said, I'm okay with ums and ahs. You know, I want it to feel more like a conversation. Now, these more produced videos, I'm a little bit more plastic, I'll call it. I'll try to be a little bit more, straight and narrow. This is what we're doing. But on the video quotes that I do, I let it just be like a conversation. That's really what got me over the hurdle of comfort level in front of the camera, was just to think of it as a phone conversation or a conversation between you and I. I mean, I want to explain this to you. I'm sitting across the table. This is what I've got for you. These are the quotes. Here's how I want to talk about it. That's how I sort of view it. Yes?
How about content?
That's a good question.
My stuff is knowledge in my head. So, I mean, if I'm, from a content perspective, most of the stuff that I'm showing is like, there's some coverage stuff in there, some basics about, like, for instance, the DBA. There's some specifics in there, some language in the policy. I'll just pull out a couple pieces of those that I think are interesting and talk about it. And then this is the content. You're creating it. So, so that's typically where I get it from. Does that answer, I guess, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, just like, where you
Okay.
draw upon to
Yeah.
talk about certain things.
Yeah.
Obviously, quotes are something that you prepared, but
Right.
if it's not, if it's more of an explainer video or something
Yep.
like that, is there a place where you guys pull content for?
I think everything that's probably needs to be said in insurance has probably been said, but the world hasn't heard you see it. Had heard you say it, I should say. They have not heard you say it. And so I think your voice and your experience and how you specifically explain something is different than anyone else in this room. We all have a different way of doing it. And so the content is really in you. And so I think it was Hanley that said, the content creators will always win. And that's because if you're willing to talk about the stuff that you know on the record, which was a great question, but if you're willing to talk about it on the record and show people that you understand what you're talking about, they're going to do business with you. It's people do business with those they know, like, and trust. Video allows you to be at their kitchen table, but not be at their kitchen table. And they start to develop a relationship with you through that. Some of the things I'll show you, I'm going to show you how I do this from a video quote perspective, but just some feedback I've gotten. Recently, I did a home and auto thing for a CPA in town, super old school. I mean, the guy's been around forever, and has had one insurance agent for a long time, and his rates kept going up and up and up, and he said, Landon, come help us. So I did, grabbed his information. I put together a video quote, which I'll show you how I did that. Sent it to him, and his wife was looking at the video over his shoulder that night after I'd sent it to him, and he told me this later. That's how I know it. And she looked at it and pointed, and she said, I don't care who it is or what they're saying. That's our insurance agent. We need to work with them. And that's just because I was willing to put forth that effort. Oh, by the way, that person sent me 2 or 3 referrals that turned into immediate business the next week. So it's really powerful stuff when you get into it. And it's not hard, Steve Chalk. I'm going to teach you how to do it. You ready? Are we good? Can I show you this, or we got more questions? Okay, all right. So I'm specifically going to use the tool Wistia, and I'm going to show you some real numbers. I'm going to ask that you just don't take pictures of this next part because it is someone's personal info, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I do. This isn't perfect. Jack has got some incredible, platinum, bronze, silver levels of quotes and stuff that's phenomenal. I'm sure he'd show you that if he would. I'm going to show you my breakdown and how I break down premiums and whatnot. And I'm going to try to focus on the camera, so forgive me if I ignore that you're here, because I want you to sort of see the process. I'm hopefully going to do it in under 5 minutes, okay? So you'll be able to just watch start to finish what I do, how I do it, and go from there. So the first thing I'll do is I pull the quotes down in a PDF format, so I'll be able to talk about them. I sort of get myself set and think, okay, I'm gonna explain. This is home and auto. This is Erie Insurance. How many of you are Erie agents in here? Okay, Erie probably wouldn't like that I'm doing this, but I'm gonna show you how I do it, okay? So this is PDF format, so I just pull it up, get it set right where I want it to start. I get my other document here. This is my quote summary that I use to talk to people. I'm gonna minimize that. All right, Wistia is just this little plug-in that you can download into Chrome, okay? And you see I'm there already. I've got myself logged in. I would not normally use this terrible up angle.
You're rocking it, dude. It looks great.
Rocking the up angle. I wouldn't typically, normally this is up higher. You can have a webcam up top or something like that. You can see it's reading my volume level. You see the green and yellow volume indicator there, and it's catching my video. What I like about Wistia, just a quick thing, for those of us that are a little afraid of the camera, Wistia, as soon as you hit start recording, the monitor that would show me is going to go away. It's gone. So the only thing you have to focus on is what's on your screen, okay? And then I'll show you on the back end how you flip between my face and then what's on the video, okay? There's other tools. Loom, the reason I think Loom's great. Loom, I think, allows you to download for free, which is why a lot of people use it. I think it kind of gives you a gamer feel because it puts your face in the bottom right-hand corner. If anybody ever seen like a, video game explainer video or something, it's like this little dude in the bottom right-hand corner. I think it's kind of goofy. So I like to use something that's more head-on, face-on, and then can show the screen. I use all of them though because I use Vidyard if I'm sending just my face. If I just want to roll with like some of the things you did where you want to, pitch an idea or something and just face on. I just use Vidyard because it's super quick and easy. I don't have any post-production to think about, and I just send it. So, but I'm going to do Wistia because I'm going to show you a PDF quote proposal here. So, the name of this client is Giles and Kelly. So,
This is Landon's secret sauce right here.
this is the secret sauce right here.
Yeah,
okay?
this is it.
Giles and Kelly. Okay, I'd probably write it a little cleaner than this, but this is what we're going to do. So Giles and Kelly, you can see that in the viewfinder there. I'm going to hit start record, and then I'm going to roll with it. Okay, so we're going to go with it. Select my screen.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah, drum roll.
There it is. Woohoo!
It gives you this crazy click down. Of course, we're not going to hear it because we don't have audio, but so 5. You can see the little top 4, 3. Giles and Kelly, Landon, Callahan and Rice Insurance. Hope you're doing all right today. Attached in this email are the quotes that I was able to pull for you, home, auto, and I'm going to introduce this concept of an umbrella to you. We talked about it briefly on the phone. But let me go ahead and dive into this, and I want to just show you what I was able to find based on your specific situation. So taking a look here, the very first thing I want to talk about is the numbers. I'm a person that likes to put the numbers out there ahead of time. You're with MetLife right now. You can see those are your renewal premiums, what they're going to be charging you the next year. You see the Erie Compare. That's really me matching as closely as I can the coverages from the MetLife policy, and then the Erie Insurance recommendation is really going to be ultimately what I'm going to suggest for you, and I'll give you the reasons for that as we kind of walk through this. So let me start with the homeowner's insurance policy. Make sure that your address and everything is correct. That I've spelled things correctly. We are using a replacement cost policy. It's very standard in the insurance industry. There is one level above that called guaranteed replacement cost. We talked about that briefly, and I feel like with what you have currently, replacement cost will do fine for you. So that's why I've included that there. You can see the premium dollar here, $816, $500 deductible there. As we scroll down. Replacement cost estimator had your house at about $169,000. I think that's pretty close based on the tax record. but then also what your actual replacement cost is. I know you gave me a little bit lower number based on tax record. We in the insurance business use a replacement cost estimator so that if the house is totally destroyed, we would be able to rebuild it to the same like, kind, and quality that it is today. Other structures, personal property, and loss of use, those are calculated values based on the dwelling. So if the dwelling value goes up, those other structures, personal property, and loss of use numbers automatically go up. I can always increase those. I have a really hard time with this company decreasing them, so unless you tell me that we're really, really overinsured there, I think those are pretty solid numbers. Liability insurance at $300,000, you're going to see that right there. Very standard. That's the slip, trip, and fall. That's the best way to explain that. Medical payments to others is at $2,000. Replacement cost is increased at 25%. So that means if you lost the whole home and had to rebuild it, you would take this 169 number and I multiply it by 1.25 to get you your full replacement cost value. Water and sump overflow is there at $15,000, and there's your total cost. As we zip down to the auto insurance, you'll see your vehicles listed here, along with yourself and Kelly and the drivers there. Incidentally, we will be adding Davis, your son, here shortly, so these numbers will look a little different once we add him, but for now, as we're set up, I think this is going to work out well for you. You were at 100, 300,000. I'm going to actually suggest we go a little higher than that to get you a different type of coverage, which we'll talk about in just a second. Your deductibles, $250, $500, and here's your total cost for the auto insurance right there. So the umbrella, I'm actually going to include a video in this email that will explain what an umbrella insurance policy is that I did. Just let me know if you have any questions about it, but because Davis is going to be a young driver on the road, I really think we need to get you some extra liability coverage in case something does happen. You were brought into a lawsuit or for some reason and needed to protect yourself further there. So that's what I have for you. Hope that's helpful. You've got my number, 910-484-6171, extension 134. I look forward to talking with you really soon. Thanks.
Can we just give him a round of applause?
Okay. I abbreviated some of that stuff, and talking about those coverages, I immediately felt like, oh my gosh, all these really smart insurance people. And the way I say things on a video, you may not totally agree with. I get it. We all have different ways of talking about this stuff, and we probably make mistakes every day. So this is why I like Wistia, okay? Really fast. Do I still have time, Sid? Yes.
You good.
I always start with just face on. Okay, so they saw Giles and Kelly. And I'm talking, and at some point I said, let me jump in. I use that phrase every time because that's the marker for me to know, okay, I'm going to put a mark right there, and I'm going to flip over to the screen share. And it's right there is where I would do that. Boom. So now I'm going through. I usually skip through my video on this because I know I'm talking about stuff, and I'm pointing, and I'm clicking, and I'm highlighting, and whatnot. And then at some point I say, I hope that's helpful. That's what I say, and that's my cue when I'm listening to it back that I put a marker right there, and I flip back to me, and then the rest of the video is me talking directly to the camera. Okay? Then I go over to Customize. This is where it's cool. Choose Frame. And I'm using this frame as the thumbnail. Okay? I usually title it something. I usually say... Yep. Yes, all this is free. All this is free. And then what I do is I basically click this button, copy URL and thumbnail, open up my email. This isn't exactly the way I do it, but I'm just going to show you for sake of time. There it is in the email. And usually I write in the top of the email, watch this video first, and then open the attachments. I put the attachments in and go from there. All of this, you stole my thunder, all of this costs you zero. How many of you have a laptop with a webcam on it? How many of you have and your laptop has a microphone on it? You don't need anything else. So Steve Chalk, you can do it tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay?
Steve.
You could do it tomorrow. So that process right there. So let me just give you some real-time numbers, okay? So we track our sales very closely in how we present these things. Every quote that leaves my desk has a video attached to it. And if a quote is sent with a video, last year we closed at 67%. Some people will get up here and tell you you're going to get 100% response rate with video. I don't think that's true. But what I do know is true is that my close rate has gone through the roof because I do a process like this. And a lot, there's a lot of justifications. Can you hunt them on the phone? How do you get feedback from them? All that stuff. I never have a problem getting feedback from people after I've sent that, because who's not going to want to open up that email and click on that video if it doesn't have their name on it? If it has their name on it.
Is that why you do the name?
100%.
They know that, hey, I made this specifically.
That's for them. This isn't a stock video, whatever. I'm not going to do that. And then what I do, remember I referenced really fast. I referenced the umbrella video, and this is a explainer video that I had done previously, where I talk. It was raining, umbrella. I tried, and so it has, so I include that link in the email. They watch it. They don't watch it. They want it. They don't want it. Whatever. Questions? Yes, sir.
Video is typically large files. Is there any issue with those going through that?
Exactly. All it is a link. It's a hyperlink. So where it lives, I'll show you really fast. Just to prove that I do it for all my clients, here's all the videos. Okay? So these are real videos that I sent people. And so it just lives on Soapbox. It's all free. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. And the link is there. Now, from an E&O perspective, I could go in there and delete all those. Okay? So periodically I'll do that. I'll go back in. If they're 2 months old or whatever, I'll just delete them out of there. And then there's no access to it at that point. Once it's gone, it's gone. But, we haven't had an issue with that yet. Other questions? Wistia, yeah. Soapbox is the tool that is produced by Wistia. Am I saying that right? That's right.
Yep.
Correct. Again, it's free.
If your internet is not great, just need a load time.
A little slow. However, I just uploaded a whatever minute video that was in no time flat. It was done really fast. So. I am using a headset for a mic. Yeah, I have a office runner headset that I use, and it's connected to my docking station. So I just do that. I keep it really easy and simple with these. Other questions? Yeah.
I swear I'm not a pessimist, but
That's good.
so all the cyber liability stuff that we all are thinking about. What's our risk here? We've got address and possibly information.
Yeah. So it's a private link, and you could develop a process where it's deleted after however many days.
Yeah, but you're sending it by email though, right?
You are.
Publicly available information anyway, name and address is publicly available.
Well, I didn't know, if there happens to be birthday, driver's license number on the quote.
That's just matter.
You're gonna send that quote via PDF anyway, so you're sending that via email.
Yeah. Christopher. Okay. Anyone else?
All right. So can we give Landon a round of applause, by the way? Like, wow.